didn't even mention yet, but the Legion of Doom, one of the most popular tag teams, of course, of that period, but of all time, they're supposed to face Money Inc. It doesn't happen. They're still on the show. Paul Ellering makes his debut for the WWF, and they just have a promo with Mean Gene. But I believe, if the rumor is correct, Hawk was suspended, so they didn't have an actual match in the show. Do you remember what happened with the Legion of Doom at that point?
I remember. I'm trying to think. It was. I remember it with Tully. I think it was Tully and Arn, and they were coming back into Atlanta when I was there, and they were an established team, and where we had all kinds of plans, and the random drug tests were a reality. It was something that it wouldn't have had credibility if you knew well in advance when the tests were going to be and could tell the guys to be on their best behavior. If you do that, you don't really have it's not really a legitimate drug test. So I never knew when the test was going to be, or I would know, like at 4:00, somebody would call and say, well, make sure you get to the building. I know you get there early, but it's real important today because when you get there, there'll be a doctor there. Okay, and I know what's going on. And when the guys came in, as soon as they walked through the door, the first thing you had to do was, have them go in and leave their sample. And it was a thing where the doctors who did it would immediately take the sample, and the first thing they would do was record the temperature. So it wasn't like a guy could have a clean specimen and keep it in a vial in his pocket and get to the thing, oh, there's a drug test, and be able to switch it out. Then it wouldn't meet the proper temperature level that it would be suspect, and it's there were a lot of challenges. In other words, there was a good faith effort to keep the random drug tests as legitimate as possible. But the one situation I'm trying to think with Tully and Arn, where they were coming in as a tag team, they were hot, and I want to say, with they're both all my friends, and I'm just talking about historic, so I'm not talking about something that wasn't known at the time. But I want to say that I think it was Tully that got flagged, and when it happens,
yes.
when it happens, it's not like, well, this will take effect in 3 weeks. It's on the spot, and so they were coming in and going to be featured. Now, if it's Tully and Arn, it diminishes Arn's value because as great a talent as Arn is, and to me, he's one of the all-time greats. But at that particular time, he was being brought in as part of that Arn Tully team, and the day they arrive, all of a sudden, Tully's on the shelf for 6 weeks, and that puts Arn in a terrible situation because he would have anticipated jumping right in a main event spot and not losing any momentum from where he came from, and now he's on ice for 6 weeks. It was very stressful for me as the person in charge of creative, stressful on Tully for him saying, well, I just used a poor judgment, and how does that affect the relationship with Arn? Because now Arn was coming in with anticipation of what they were going to do financially, and that's not going to happen for at least 6 weeks. And coming in with all the buildup, it's not like you can put the buildup on hold and have that same impact once one of the players in a team is available, and you suddenly put them out there and try and recreate, what you would have had 6 or 8 weeks ago.
Right, and that's exactly the same situation that happens with Hawk and Hannibal with the Legion of Doom. And, I guess Hawk got busted, still able to appear on the show and do the interview, but obviously not wrestling, cancels the plans against Bunny Inc.